Imagine that you are on a hill, under the most starry sky you have ever seen. There are no city lights to interfere, just the silence of the universe and the vastness of the unknown before your eyes. The stars seem to whisper ancient stories, and as you look at them, a question arises in your mind. What existed before all of this? Before the stars, the galaxies, the Earth, before even time itself? It is a question that science has tried to answer with theories like the Big Bang, but even with all the accumulated knowledge, there is something that remains beyond human reach. What came before the beginning? Where did everything really originate from? And more importantly, who was there? Today, I want to take you on a journey that crosses time, space, and even the invisible. Let's explore a truth that goes beyond science and theories, something that can change the way you see the world and perhaps how you see yourself. Have you ever heard that Jesus is eternal, that he existed before time began? This may seem like just a theological idea, but there is a surprising depth behind it. Think with me. If Jesus is eternal, it means he is not limited by time as we are. He was present before the first atom existed, before anything we can see or touch was created. What does this reveal about who he really is? The Bible gives us a powerful hint right at the beginning of the Gospel of John. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. John 1:1. What does it mean for Jesus to be called the Word? And why does this word, used more than 2,000 years ago, still carry so much weight today? Before answering, I want you to think about something. We live in a world where words have power. A single tweet can make someone famous or destroy their reputation. A word spoken in love can save a relationship, while another, full of anger, can ruin it. Words shape our lives, our thoughts, and even our history. But what if I told you that there is a word that not only describes but creates, transforms, and sustains everything that exists? That's what John meant when he called Jesus the Word. In the original Greek, the word used is logos, which means much more than just word. For the ancient Greeks, logos was the reason and order that sustained the universe, the principle that gave meaning to everything. For the Jews, the Word was the active expression of God, the creative power that brought everything into existence. When John wrote these words, he was uniting these two ideas and revealing something extraordinary. Jesus is the Logos, the eternal Word, which not only explains life, but gives it meaning. Think of the vastness of the universe, with its galaxies, stars and planets, all created through this word. Every physical law that keeps the cosmos in order, every invisible particle that forms matter, every breath you take right now, all of this exists because of him. Jesus is not just a historical figure or a great spiritual master. He is the origin, the starting point, the creator and sustainer of everything. Now, you might be wondering, okay, but what does this have to do with me? Everything. If Jesus existed before time, it means that he knows the beginning and the end. He understands every detail of your life, your struggles, your fears, and your dreams. And the most incredible part? He chose to come to our world, live among us, and show us, through words and actions, who God really is. Just imagine, the one who placed the stars in the sky also cares deeply about you. He is not a distant God, sitting somewhere in the cosmos, indifferent to our existence. He is personal, close, and interested in every detail of your life. Have you ever stopped to think about what that means? That the same Jesus who existed before time still remains active today, speaking and acting in our lives. I know this may seem like a lot to absorb, but that's exactly why I'm here to explore this with you. In the next few minutes, we will dive even deeper into this truth, connecting the dots between the past, present, and future, and discovering how this story can transform your life. So stay with me, because what comes next might be one of the most important answers you've ever found. Have you ever stopped to think about how time shapes everything around us? From sunrise to sunset, we live in a constant cycle, always aware of the passing of hours, days, and years. But what if I told you that there is someone who is not limited by this cycle, someone who not only transcends time, but was present before it even began to exist? This is one of those questions we pause to reflect on, especially when we feel small in the face of something as vast as the ocean or the night sky. It is exactly this type of thought that leads us to explore something much greater than ourselves. And the answer to this question, surprisingly, begins with one word: eternity. When the Bible says that Jesus is eternal, what does that really mean? Can we, with our minds limited by time, understand something so infinite? Let's think together. We live in a world where everything has a beginning and an end. The seasons change, the days pass, people come and go. But Jesus is not like that. He existed before all of this, even before the concept of time was created. He didn't just witness the beginning of the universe, he is its author. And here's something fascinating. Modern science gives us clues that can help us understand this. Have you ever heard of the Big Bang? It is the most widely accepted theory about the origin of the universe. According to scientists, everything that exists, matter, energy, space, and even time, began at that moment. But if time had a beginning, someone had to be there before that. And that is exactly where the eternity of Jesus comes into play. The Bible describes this in an incredibly poetic way. In the Gospel of John, it is written, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." John 1:1. This phrase not only speaks of Jesus as someone who existed at the beginning, it presents him as the beginning. He is not just part of creation, he is the origin of everything. Think for a moment about the impact of this. We are used to thinking of everything in a linear way, a starting point, a timeline, and an end point. But Jesus breaks with this logic. He is eternal, without beginning and without end. He is outside of time and at the same time present in every moment of it. This means that he sees the past, the present, and the future all at once. And more, he acts in all these dimensions. Now, it may seem that all of this is very distant from our reality. After all, we are here, living in a world full of deadlines, clocks, and calendars. But here's the point. The eternity of Jesus is not just a distant theological concept. It is a truth that has a direct impact on how we live today. Let me explain. If Jesus is eternal, it means that he knows every detail of your life. He knows what you have already been through, the difficulties you have faced, the moments of joy, and even the dreams you have not yet realized. He also knows what is to come. Nothing surprises him. Nothing is beyond his control. And here is the most incredible part. This same Jesus who existed before time chose to enter our story. He decided to leave eternity and limit himself to time, living as one of us. Why? Because he wanted to show us who God really is. He wanted to teach us that we are not just creatures wandering aimlessly. We have a Creator who loves us, who knows us deeply, and who has an eternal plan for each of us. If this still seems abstract, think about the following. We live in a time when people are constantly searching for meaning. Often, we seek this meaning in things that are fleeting: success, wealth, status. But the problem is that all these things are temporary. They come and go just like time. So where can we find something that lasts forever? That is the beauty of understanding the eternity of Jesus. He not only offers a perspective on the universe, he invites us to be part of something that never ends. He offers a purpose that goes beyond the temporal circumstances of our lives. When we connect with him, we stop living only for the now and begin to live with eternity in mind. And this brings us to a personal question. How have you been using your time? Do your choices reflect something greater, something with an eternal impact? Or have you been limiting yourself to the fleeting concerns of everyday life? What Jesus teaches us is that no matter where we are or what we face, there is always something greater happening. He is the beginning and the end, but he is also present in the middle, guiding us, sustaining us, and calling us to something beyond what we can imagine. In the next few moments, we will dive even deeper into this idea of eternity. Let's explore how Jesus, being eternal, not only created everything that exists, but also offers a way for each of us to experience this eternity in a real and transformative way. So stay with me. We are just beginning this journey. Have you ever imagined being in a library so ancient that each book carries centuries of wisdom, stories, and mysteries? You run your fingers over time-worn covers, smell the scent of yellowed pages, and realize you are surrounded by voices from the past. Now think with me, what if all these words, all these ideas, were just fragments of something greater, something that gives meaning to everything that has been written, lived, or dreamed? This something greater is what the Apostle John calls logos, or word, as it is in John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. But what does that really mean? And why is this idea of logos, which is over 2,000 years old, still so powerful today? To understand, we need to go back a bit in time, to the ancient world. At that time, the word logos was not just a theological term. For the Greek philosophers, such as Heraclitus, Plato, and Aristotle, logos was the principle that governed the universe. It was the invisible order behind the chaos, the reason that united all things. They believed that the universe was not random, but that there was a logic, an intelligence that sustained it. Now look at the world we live in today. With all the technology, science, and knowledge we have accumulated, we often still feel lost, don't we? There is so much information around us, so many ideas vying for our attention, that sometimes it feels like we are in the midst of chaos. Social media, heated debates, the struggle for validation, all of this can disconnect us from what really matters. And it is here that the concept of logos, the word, becomes more relevant than ever. John was saying something revolutionary by asserting that the logos is not just an idea or a force. He is a person. He is Jesus. Think about it. The reason behind everything, the principle that sustains the universe, is not something distant or impersonal. It's someone who knows you, cares about you, and wants to connect with you. That's extraordinary, don't you think? In the ancient world, people saw the logos as a cosmic energy, something abstract. But John came and said, no. The logos is someone who walks with you, who talks with you, who loves you. And when Jesus came into the world, he didn't just explain who God is. He showed. Now, let me ask you something. Do you feel that the world around you is disconnected, as if things don't make sense? Maybe you are going through something difficult, a situation where it seems like everything is out of control. I want you to know that the Logos, Jesus, is the order in the midst of this chaos. He is the one who transforms confusion into clarity, doubt into hope. You know, we live in a time when words have immense power. A single post on social media can build or destroy a reputation in seconds. But at the same time, many words are empty, without real meaning. And that is exactly what makes Jesus so different. He is not just someone who speaks. He is the very living Word. His words create, heal, transform. Let me share something with you. Scientists and philosophers agree that we are in an era of information overload. We have more data available today than any previous generation. However, ironically, many people feel more lost and disconnected than ever, and it's because we're not just looking for answers, we're looking for meaning. And that is what Jesus, as Logos, offers. He did not come to bring only beautiful words or philosophical ideas. He came to be the connection between the Creator and creation. He came to show us that we don't have to live in chaos, but that we can find purpose and direction when we connect with Him. When I think about all this, I'm amazed. The same Jesus who created the stars and shaped the universe also cares about the details of your life. He knows what you're facing, your daily struggles, your uncertainties. And He is saying, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Come to me. If you have never thought of the Logos in this way before, let me encourage you to reflect. Think about how your words impact the world around you. Think about how you can, even amidst chaos, bring a bit of order, because that's what Jesus does. He empowers us to live with purpose, to love with intention, and to speak with truth. In the next few minutes, we will delve even deeper into this idea. Let's explore how the Logos, the eternal Word, is not just something from the past, but continues to be active today, transforming lives and bringing hope. So, stay with me. What you are going to discover may change your worldview and transform your faith forever. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our next videos. We would also love to hear your opinion here in the comments. Like and share this video with your friends. Have you ever felt in such a difficult, confusing moment that all you wanted was a clear answer? A sign, a direction, something that said, it's this way. Continue. Now imagine being alone in a desert, in the midst of a situation that seems impossible to resolve. And then, suddenly, you see a bush burning but not being consumed. Something supernatural. What would you do? This incredible scene is not just a myth or a children's story. It is a real event described in the Bible in Exodus 3, when Moses encounters God in the burning bush. But here is something you may have never noticed. The text says that the angel of the Lord appeared to Moses in the flame of fire. And when the voice speaks, it identifies itself as God Himself. Who was this divine messenger? There is a fascinating mystery here. Throughout the Old Testament, several figures are described as the angel of the Lord, but they do not act like ordinary messengers. They speak with divine authority, accept worship, and perform acts that only God could do. Could it be that these apparitions were manifestations of Jesus before His incarnation? Now, perhaps you are thinking, but didn't Jesus only appear in the New Testament? The answer is more complex than it seems. The Bible shows us that Jesus did not begin to exist when He was born in Bethlehem. He is eternal, as we explored earlier, and has been active throughout all of human history. This means that the appearances of the angel of the Lord could very well have been Him, acting at key moments to guide, protect, and reveal God's plan. Consider another example. When Gideon, in Judges 6, encountered the angel of the Lord, he was afraid, unsure about his mission, and this divine being not only encouraged him, but spoke with an authority that changed everything. When Gideon realized with whom he was speaking, he was terrified and exclaimed, I have seen the Lord face to face, but he did not die. Instead, he received peace. And there's even more. In the book of Daniel, we have the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who were thrown into the fiery furnace for refusing to worship a statue. When King Nebuchadnezzar looked into the furnace, he saw not 3, but 4 figures, and said that the 4th looked like a son of the gods. Who else could that protective presence in the fire be? These moments in the Old Testament are like clues, small revelations that point to something greater. Jesus was already active, appearing and intervening in human history long before His coming as a man. He was there to protect, guide, and prepare the way for God's redemptive plan. But what does that mean for you? It means that Jesus is not a distant or passive Savior. He has always been present, and if He was there in the desert with Moses, in the furnace with the 3 young men, and in the field with Gideon, why wouldn't he be with you now? Maybe you are facing your own furnace today. It could be a moment of crisis, fear, or doubt, and it's easy to feel like you're alone, that no one understands what you're going through. But the truth is that you have never been alone. Just as he was present in critical moments of history, Jesus is with you now, in the midst of your desert, in the midst of your struggle. And here is something even more powerful. He is not just watching you from afar. He is acting, guiding, and strengthening you, even when you don't realize it. The burning bush was a sign to Moses that God was with him, even when he doubted himself. The presence in the furnace was a reminder to the young people that God would protect them, even in the midst of the flames. And for you, perhaps this moment, this message is what God is using to tell you, I am here. Trust in me. In the next few minutes, we will delve even deeper into these divine manifestations and explore how they culminated in the greatest plan of all, the coming of Jesus as Savior. But for now, remember this. The same Jesus who appeared in the most critical moments of the past is present with you today, and he will never leave you alone. Have you ever wondered about the impact your words have on the world? Have you ever wondered about the impact your words have on the world? Each sentence you say, each message you send, each comment you post creates waves, sometimes small, other times immense. In the hyper-connected world we live in, words can build bridges or erect walls, bring hope or spread chaos. But what if I told you that there is a word that not only creates impact, but transforms realities in a way that no other can? That word is Jesus, and he is not just another idea or philosophical concept. He is the living word, the perfect expression of who God is and what he desires for us. In John 1:14, it is written, "And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us." Think about this. The creator of the universe, the one who spoke the stars into existence, chose to become like us, to live among us, so that we could know him closely. Now, let me pause here. We live in a world where promises are made and broken. All the time, words are spoken, but they are rarely followed by actions. Have you ever experienced that? Has someone promised you something but not followed through? Or maybe you yourself said something that you couldn't follow through on? Jesus is completely different. He didn't just talk about love, he lived love. He didn't just teach about forgiveness. He forgave even those who crucified him. He not only promised life, he gave his own life so that we could live. He is the living word, where every promise is fulfilled and every teaching is accompanied by action. Now think, what if we lived like that too? If our words were accompanied by actions that reflected integrity, truth, and love? That is what Jesus calls us to do. He showed us that words have power, but that this power becomes complete when it is lived out in practice. Let me give you an example of how this applies to our current world. We live in the era of social media, where words can go viral in seconds. A single post can reach millions of people, shape opinions, and even change the course of events. But at the same time, many of these words are empty, uninformed, or even destructive. We are surrounded by voices, but few of them truly reflect truth and purpose. Jesus teaches us to speak and act with intention. He challenges us to use our words to build, not destroy, to heal, not hurt. He reminds us that true communication is not just about what we say, but about how we live. Now think about your own life. Are there words you have said and would like to take back? Moments when your actions didn't match what you said? We've all been through that. But here's the good news. Jesus didn't come just to show us how to live. He came to empower us to live in a way that transforms our words and actions. If you choose to follow his example, your words can begin to reflect something much greater than yourself. They can become an echo of the living word, bringing light, hope, and truth to a world that desperately needs them. So here is the challenge. How can you use your words today to create a positive impact? How can you align what you say with what you do? Remember that Jesus, as the Word, is both the message and the action. He calls us to be the same, not just speakers of the truth, but doers of it. Let's explore further how the living Word impacts our lives and transforms us from the inside out. But for now, let me encourage you. Choose today to be a voice of light amidst so many empty words. Choose to be a reflection of the living Word, whose word never fails. Say it now out loud. I am a reflection of the living Word. Have you ever stopped to think about the purpose of your life? Have you ever stopped to think about what the purpose of your life is? Not just what you do day by day, but why you are here, now, at this moment in history. This question, as challenging as it may be, is something we all face at some point, especially when we encounter difficulties or moments of uncertainty. And here is an incredible truth that we often forget. You were created with an eternal purpose. No matter who you are, where you were born, or what the circumstances of your life are, there is a greater plan that involves you. But to understand this, we need to return to something we have already explored: Jesus as the living Word. The eternity of Jesus is not just an abstract theological concept. It is a reality that shapes who we are and how we live. Think about this. Jesus not only created the universe, he also created you with a specific and personal purpose. And more, he remains active in our lives, guiding and transforming us so that we can live according to that purpose. But what does this mean in practice? Let's be honest. The modern world is full of distractions. Social media, work, responsibilities. All of this competes for our attention. It's easy to get lost in what's urgent and forget what's important. Many times, we feel like we are just surviving, going from one day to the next, without really living. Jesus came to change that. He said, I have come that they may have life and have it abundantly, John 10:10. This is not just a promise of eternal life in the future. It is an invitation to live with purpose and fullness now. But how does this connect with you today? Well, let me share something personal. Maybe you feel like someone who is climbing an endless mountain, facing challenges that seem impossible to overcome. Or maybe you are in a valley where everything seems stagnant and meaningless. Whatever the case may be, know this: Jesus is with you. He knows your journey, and more importantly, he has a plan for you. When we talk about living with purpose, we are not just talking about great achievements or dramatic changes. Sometimes, living with purpose means doing the little things with love, being a reflection of who Jesus is to those around you. It means choosing words of encouragement when you could criticize. It means lending a helping hand to someone in need, even when you are struggling with your own challenges. The beauty of it all is that the purpose Jesus offers us is not something we can achieve on our own. He does not expect us to be perfect or to have all the answers. Instead, he invites us to walk with him, step by step, trusting that he will guide us in the right direction. Think of your life as a journey. You may not see the end of the road now, but that doesn't mean you are alone. Every step you take, even the small ones, is part of something greater. And when you look to Jesus, the living Word, the Word that created everything, you discover that he not only started this journey, but walks alongside you. Let me encourage you with this. No matter where you are on your journey, your purpose has not been forgotten. Jesus is calling you to live a life full of meaning, a life that reflects the love, grace, and truth that he demonstrated. In the next few moments, we will explore how living with this perspective can transform everything, from the way you see yourself to how you interact with the world around you. But for now, I want you to remember one thing. You are part of a much larger story, written by the Creator of the universe. And this story includes you. So, wherever you are right now, at the top of the mountain or in the deepest valley, know that you are seen, known, and loved. Jesus, the eternal Word, is calling you to live with purpose. The only question is, are you willing to take the next step? Now that we have reached the end of this journey, I want to invite you to reflect on everything we have seen so far. From the eternity of Jesus, through his manifestations in the Old Testament, to his role as the living Word that sustains the universe, every detail points to a powerful truth. Jesus is not only the beginning of everything, he is also the purpose and hope for our lives today. Think about all the issues we've discussed. Jesus, the eternal Word, is not a distant figure or confined to the pages of history. He is a living presence, a God who acts, who speaks, and who transforms. He was present before time, created all things, and entered our history to show us who God really is. This is not just theology. It is an invitation to live with purpose, even in a world full of challenges. And speaking of challenges, you might be wondering, but how does this change my life now? Here is the answer. It changes everything. Knowing that Jesus is the living Word means that you are not alone, even in the most difficult moments. It means that there is a God who knows every detail of your heart, who understands your struggles, and who wishes to walk with you every step of your journey. And more, it means that your life has value and purpose. In a world that often tries to make us believe we are just a speck in the vastness of the cosmos, Jesus reminds us that we are deeply loved and intentionally created. He didn't just give life to this universe, he also gave you a unique mission, a role that no one else can play. But here's something important. Living with purpose is a choice. It's not something that happens by chance. It is a daily decision to trust in Jesus, to align your words and actions with his character, to allow the living Word to transform who you are from the inside out. Let me encourage you to take that step today. Maybe that means stopping for a few minutes and asking, God, what do you want from me? How can I live according to the purpose that you have given me? Or maybe it means forgiving someone, helping those in need, or simply stopping to listen to God's voice amidst the hustle and bustle of daily life. And remember, you don't have to do this alone. Jesus promised, "Behold, I am with you all the days, even unto the end of the world." Matthew 28:20. This is the assurance that no matter where you are or what you face, he is by your side. Before we finish, I want to extend a special invitation. If this message spoke to your heart, share your opinion in the comments. I want to know how it impacted you, what questions it raised, or even how we can continue this conversation in future videos. Moreover, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the upcoming content. This channel exists to explore deep truths like this, to bring hope, purpose, and reflection. And your participation is essential so that we can take this message even further. So leave your like, share this video with someone you believe needs to hear this message, and be part of this journey with us. Finally, remember this. Jesus is not just a figure of the past or a distant idea. He is the living truth, the Word, that transforms lives and gives meaning to everything. He is here now, calling you to a life full of purpose and meaning. The only question that remains is, are you ready to say yes to this invitation? Thank you very much for accompanying me this far. It was a privilege to share this journey with you. May God bless you powerfully and see you in the next video. Until then,